The Worcestershire Poltergeist. It was the autumn of 2003 when I first heard about the Worcestershire Poltergeist. The stories circulated through local pubs and online forums, each account more chilling than the last. The idea of spending a night in the midst of it intrigued me. I'd spent years investigating haunted places across England, armed with nothing but a flashlight, a notepad, and an insatiable curiosity. I had always felt a pull toward the paranormal. Ghostly encounters were more than just stories for me. They were a window into something unexplained, a chance to confront fear and uncertainty. So, when I heard that the old farmhouse near Malvern was said to be plagued by unexplained phenomena, objects moving, disembodied voices, cold spots, I knew I had to experience it for myself. On a chilly Friday evening, I packed my gear into the trunk of my battered old car and drove the winding roads of Worcestershire. The setting sun cast a dusky hue over the fields, and I could feel the anticipation building in my chest. As I pulled up to the farmhouse, its dark silhouette loomed against the sky, surrounded by dense trees that seemed to whisper secrets of their own. The owner, a weathered woman named Edith, welcomed me with a cautious smile. She had lived there for over 30 years and had witnessed countless disturbances. "Just be careful," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "You never know what might happen." I set up my equipment in the living room, a space filled with antique furniture that looked like it belonged to another century. The air felt heavy, thick with history. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. After a quick tour of the house, I settled in for the night, surrounded by my tools, an EMF detector, a voice recorder, and a flashlight. As darkness enveloped the farmhouse, I began my vigil. I switched off the lights and sat in silence, the only sound being the creaking of the old house. The atmosphere was charged, every shadow seeming to dance with potential. I whispered into the void, asking if any spirits were present. The response was a palpable chill that ran down my spine. Hours passed, and just as I began to doubt the tales, a loud bang echoed from the kitchen. My heart raced as I leaped to my feet, flashlight in hand. I cautiously approached the doorway, peering around the corner. The kitchen appeared unchanged, but my instincts screamed that something was off. I began recording, hoping to capture whatever phenomenon was at play. Suddenly I heard a soft whisper. "Get out." The voice was barely audible, but it was clear enough to send chills down my spine. I turned off the recorder, my mind racing. Was I losing my grip on reality, or had the poltergeist chosen to reveal itself? I moved back to the living room, adrenaline coursing through me. I could feel the temperature dropping again. I aimed my flashlight into the corners, searching for any sign of movement. As I did, the EMF detector began to buzz erratically. I swallowed hard. Something was definitely here. Moments later, I heard another noise. This time, it was a series of soft thuds, like footsteps above me. My heart pounded as I climbed the staircase, the wooden steps creaking under my weight. Each step felt like a deliberate challenge from the unseen presence. I reached the landing and hesitated, the air growing heavier. I decided to investigate the first room I encountered, a small bedroom filled with dusty furniture. As I stepped inside, I felt an inexplicable rush of energy, as if the room itself was alive. I set down my equipment and started asking questions. "Is anyone here with me? Can you make a sound?" Nothing but silence responded. I waited, straining to hear even the faintest rustle. But then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw it, a shadow darting across the wall. I whipped around, but there was nothing there. My pulse quickened, but I felt a thrill. This was what I had come for. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind me. I spun around, heart racing. "Okay, very funny," I shouted, my voice echoing in the small space. "If that was you, I'd appreciate a little cooperation." I opened the door, my hands shaking, and stepped back into the hallway. The EMF detector was going wild now, its lights flashing like a frantic heartbeat. I felt an overwhelming sense of presence, as if 1,000 eyes were boring into me. I hurried back down the stairs, my instincts screaming at me to leave, but curiosity held me fast. Back in the living room, I decided to regroup. I turned on my recorder again and spoke into it, my voice steadier than I felt. "I know you're here. I want to understand what you want." As if in response, the heavy armchair across the room creaked. I turned to see it shift slightly, as though someone had just stood up. My breath caught in my throat. "Show yourself," I urged, half in fear, half in desperation. The air thickened and a low moan echoed through the house. It was a sound of sorrow, a cry that twisted my heart. I felt a surge of empathy mixed with dread. Whatever lingered here had stories to tell, pain to express. But in that moment I was overwhelmed by the intensity of the emotions swirling around me. I don't know how long I stood there, caught in a battle of wills between fear and fascination. Then, without warning, the lights flickered, and I felt a rush of cold air wash over me. I stumbled back, my instincts screaming for me to escape. I raced toward the door, my heart pounding in my chest. But as I reached for the handle, I felt a presence behind me, a gentle but insistent force that seemed to say, "Stay." The sensation was almost comforting, like a warm hand on my shoulder. I paused, torn between the urge to flee and the pull of the unknown. Finally, I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. "If you want me to stay, show me a sign," I whispered. Almost instantly, a faint whisper echoed through the room. "Stay." And I did. As dawn broke over the Worcestershire countryside, I emerged from the experience changed. I had come seeking thrills and chills, but I left with a deeper understanding of the complexities of those who lingered in the spaces between our worlds. The poltergeist was not just a tale, it was a story yearning to be told. I had faced my fears, and in doing so I found connection in the most unexpected place.